Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully created one of the APIs, right? So here we created one of the APIs and also we test these APIs and everything is worked perfectly. So now with this we can actually insert our user details in our this database table as a visitor, right? So now friend, I want to consume this API. Okay, so here I have already created this API and that is our API total link. So now I want to consume this API, and here I want to visible it, I want to integrate it. That means consume our this API data in our this front end. So if you want to do that work, first of all we have to work in our this React project. So now better I want to make it as a clean. Okay, I want to make it as a clean. There is our pages. There is a page details, the notification, there is a home. I want to minimize everything. Okay, so that is our components, and that is our pages, and that is our routes. Great. So friend, if you want to get this data, that means if you want to get all that our API's data, if you want to post this data, then they have also a React Axios package. So with this we can actually manage our get and the post all that request. So if you go to that Google, if you search with the React Axios, so also before I didn't install it, if you want to check it, if you go to that package JSON, into the package JSON, here you can see there is a React Bootstrap DOM router. I didn't install that Axios, so now I want to install it. So if you want to install it, simply go to search with the React Axios, and they have one of the GitHub link. I will recommend it to go to that this GitHub link. Okay, I want to go there. So that is one of the GitHub link, and you can see how many stars is there. There is 86.1k star, so it's very trustable one of the GitHub link. So from to this position I want to do to install that Axios. You can see, for if you want to install it, you have to run as a php npm install and the Axios. So with this we can actually manage all that our request. That means that is you can see there is a get request, and that is also there is a post request. So all that get, post, all that request, we will manage it from this package as the Axios. So now first of all I want to install it. So that is our npm install Axios. I copy it. So now there are a lot of terminal is open. So right now this terminal that will also be needed better. That is our project. Here there is a PHP artisan service running, and also our another one is running, right? npm start is running. So better I want to go to our project again. So there is our e-commerce, and here now there is our admin panel, admin related everything I will do in our this admin folder, and then there is a user panel, right? So to the user I open it. So now I want to run again at the CMD, and now I want to install this package as a npm install Axios. Now click as a enter. So now it will be downloaded all that file from to the internet, and it will be installed this Axios package in our system. Friend, it may take little time. Okay, it may take little time. Better when it will be done, then I will come back again. Friend, here you can see our Axios package is now successfully installed, right? So here now we are able to use that Axios. Before use that Axios, I want to create some of the base URL. Rather than we have to actually take total URL, because all the time our this part will be common. Okay, so this part will be common for our every APIs, and this part that will be our URL part, right? So I want to do this, that is the common part. I want to make it as a base URL. If you want to do that work, right now if you go to that package JSON, into the package JSON, you can see now that is updated as the Axios 0.20.1 is now successfully installed, which is totally fine. In our component, okay, there is a component, then there is our asset. So there is our asset and the src, there is a pages. Okay, so that is all that our page. So in our src, okay, into the src I want to create another directory, and I just name this directory as the API. Okay, I name it as the API. So into this API I want to create another class component. I want to create new file, and I just name it as the app. Okay, app URL. So that will be as the app URL as a .jsx. Here we have to create simply one of the class, whether I make it as a RCE. So now I want to do, so that will be only one of the class I want to create in here. Okay, so better right now I don't need this, I remove it. export, we don't need this. That is X class, extended component, I don't need this. Okay, and there is a dev, we don't need this, returned, we don't need this, and render, we don't need this. So simply I created one of the class as a app URL, and then I export this default app URL, because here also you have to import it. So rather than we cannot able to import this app URL, right? So into this app URL I want to take one of the static property. I make it as static. So static and property, name it as a base. Okay, base, and then base URL. So that will be our base URL, and our base URL will be what? Our base URL will be, I want to take out this part, will be our base URL. Okay, I copy it, I simply copy it, and now if you go here, I simply paste it. So that will be our base URL. When you deploy your project to the any web server, only you have to add your domain name in here. Okay, automatically after the domain, all that your URL will be updated. So that will be very much helpful. So literally when I deploy this project to the web server, then I will show you. Only we have to change that name, local server, to our domain name. That is our base URL. I simply take it, everything will be more clear, don't worry. So now I want to take one of the static, another property, that will be the static another property. I name it as a here I name it or method name as a get visitor details, right? So now I take it another one, because with this we'll actually get our this URL. So that is our Laravel. So as I told you before, our Laravel will be in our Sublime Text Editor, and our React, I want to use it in our Visual Code Editor. Okay, so I name it as a visitor details, visitor, and the details. So with this property, I want to access one of the, first of all, that will be our base URL. Because of all, if you want to access our this URL, so into this URL I have already take this part, right? So this part means here I already take it in our which place, I have already take it in our this base URL. That means first of all that will be our base URL. So if you want to access it, here we have to access it with this and then the base URL, and after that base URL that will be as a plus or what, plus. If you go to again after that API, then they have the slash, and then that is our URL, right? So I copy it. So I have already checked that our this API. So now I want to execute it. So I copy it, and then after that will be our this get visitor URL. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. That means right now that is our proper URL, right? So that is our proper URL, and then the base URL I take it, plus that is our slash our URL. I just simply take it in here. I take it and I take the things with this property as a visitor, that is a visitor details. Great. So now I simply updated this part. So here, as I told you before, I want to do when our this page, okay, that means our home page will be executed, then I want to get this data. So that is the things I have already done in our pages. So into the pages, so that is our home page, right? So that is our home page. Great. So into the home page, after this, okay, after this component did mount, here I want to create another method. I name it as a get visitor details. Okay, with visitor details, this type of one of the method, and then I want to create one of the array function. So that is the array function. I want to create it in here. Okay, so that is our array function. Perfect. So into this array function, as I told you friend, now we have to access which one, we have to access our this URL, right? So with this URL I have already checked our this API, right? So now we have to access it. So if you want to access that request, so for that reasons I have already installed that Axios. As I told you, you have to manage all that your request with this Axios. So now I want to work with our this Axios. So in our home page, into the home page, here I want to load that Axios. Okay, Axios, because I want to now get all the data. That means I want to get that our get request. So that will be the Axios. Okay, Axios. So with this Axios, there is a get method. So I simply take this get. Okay, and after that get, if you also go here, you can see that is the Axios get, and then our URL. So that is our URL, and then there is another function as a then function and the catch function. So now that is actually Axios get. I simply take it in here. Okay, Axios get. With this we'll actually get our request. Our request means which one? Our request is our this one, right? So if you want to access it, so here I have already added our app URL. So now I want to load our this class, because we have to access our this URL. So now that will be as app. Okay, so that will be the app URL. You can see there is an app URL. So this app URL I have already created in our SRC APIs and the app URL. So now I want to load it. So when you click as enter, it will be you can see it's inputted that app URL from to the API and then app URL. Great. So now we access our this page, right? So now we are able to access our this page. So now with this page here, I have already created one of the property name as a visitor details. So into the visitor details, I have already passed our total URL. Remember? So now I'm going to access it. Simple things. So if you understand this part, the rest of this will be very easy. So after that, that will be our property name. Okay. And also there is a two function as a then function. Okay, then function and then the catch function. So also I'm going to load it as a then and catch. TCH catch. Okay. So there is a then and then catch. I simply load it in here. So if you go, you can see there is a then function and then there is a catch function. That means when it's perfectly get this our request, then what exactly it should be do, that will be in our then function area. And else if there have any error, so all that error related everything will be visible in our this catch area. Okay, so right now that is very simple. I simply take this data. So here we don't need to pass any then function on the catch function. Just I simply loaded as a then and then catch. So now with this Axios get, now I get this request, or that is our requested URL, API URL. So that means this URL, right? So this URL will be now heated. Perfect. So now I want to access our this get visitor details. Here I want to load it in our component did mount area. That means when this page will be loaded, first of all, this method will be executed. Okay. So I want to do after this I take another one as a this, and then our this get visitor details. I simply loaded this method in here. I hope friend it's very clear. Because of all component did mount executed when this page will be loaded, first of all this method will be executed, right? So now click as a save all. Okay, now that should be work perfectly. If everything okay, it should be work perfectly. And also one thing, so you can say I didn't use that input that Axios. So when you use that Axios, make that sure you have to also import it. So import, okay, import Axios from Axios. Okay, so make that sure you load it. So there is a import Axios from Axios. Great. And also I load that app URL. Everything is great. So now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now as I told you, when it will be executed, when this page will be loaded. So right now they have the two data, right? So they have the two data, and now if you go, now click as a refresh this page. So now you can see it's now successfully refreshed. So when it will be refreshed, and if you now go there, click as a browse. Yes, you can see it's now perfectly get our another one as a 3 IP address, the same address, the visitor time, and there is a different visitor time, and then you can see there's visitor date. Okay, so every time when you refresh this page, like I refresh it again, so when you refresh it, what exactly it's executed? It's executed our this URL, that means this API, right? So that means here when you refresh it, go there, click as a back, you can see inserted it again. So when we refresh this page as with this component did mount, our this method is executed. So that is our method. Into this method with our Axios get, I get that request, our app URL. Here I have already loaded one of the URL. You can see that is our URL, and that is I take it with this property as a visitor details. So now that is actually executed. Okay, I hope it's very much clear to you. So before I have already checked it with the Postman. So now I consume this data in here and everything great. Okay, so now you can see it's inserted this data successfully on particular that position. So laterally we'll also get this data and we'll take it in our admin panel. As I told you, we'll manage everything from our admin panel. So I will do that things later. Right now, this part is great. So that is very simple, one of the our API portion. So I created one of the APIs, consume this data. Okay, so now in the next video I want to discuss about another simple trick. Like in our contact page, into this contact page, I have already created one of the contact form, right? There is a enter mobile number, email address, and the messages. So from to this position, if you send some of the data, so this data will be saved in our the database table. Okay, so how can complete this procedure in our next video? I will show you that things with a live example. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.